Mic check, part 2. Mic check, part 2. Excellent. Alright guys, welcome to part 2 of this Halloween night alternative news media views. I was going to start off this second part with Dr. Noel, but I'll get to him, and I will get to him. But first, there's another Styx Hex and Hammer video, a few minutes, that I want to play before we get to Dr. Noel. So, let me see if I can get this done. Give me one moment, and I'll get old Styx back in, and let me just see if I've got the right capture there. Alright, looks like it. Oh, there he is. Alright, let's see old Styx take it away.
Alright YouTube, there's been a new WikiLeaks release, and it shows that, proven now, beyond a shadow of a doubt, yes, Donna Brazile somehow, I wonder if CNN was involved with this, considering they're getting kickbacks in the Clinton campaign. She did have some of the debate topics and questions that were going to come up, and she gave them over to Hillary Clinton. The second debate, the second presidential debate, was rigged. CNN, somebody there, whether it was Cooper or the head of it doesn't matter who it was, somebody did give Donna Brazile some sort of info as to some of the things that were going to come up in the debate. It's against the rules of the debate commission to do this. CNN broke those rules. Donna Brazile broke those rules. And so we now have proof that this is actually the case. This is sent by Donna Brazile specifically, talking about a question that was purportedly on that same list that might come up regarding Flint, Michigan, regarding the lead poisoning there. Now, she strikes a sympathetic tone in talking about the issue, which, any sane individual, I think, would. It's a travesty what happened in Flint, as well as what's happening to, about a quarter of all Americans as far as their drinking water goes. It's all tainted to hell. Fracking waste aside, there's lead and radioactive contaminants in half the water in this country, unfortunately. It's going to be a long time before some of that waste subsides, because a lot of it was dumped a century ago, let's face it, back during the coal era. But yeah, Donna Brazile did forward this particular material to Hillary Clinton, which breaks the debate commission's rules. And how exactly, by the way, did Donna Brazile get this, if not from the news network that was hosting the debate, which happened to be CNN? This only begins to make sense outside of a conspiratorial context, if you realize that CNN is also mentioned as being essentially on the Clinton payroll in additional leaks. By the way, before anyone complains about this, because I've noticed an uptick in the number of people claiming this, WikiLeaks has at no time in the past until this election ever been claimed to have doctored anything. That's number one. Number two, nobody in the Clinton campaign has actually come forward with a shred of evidence that any of this is doctored, number two. Number three, Hillary Clinton and Donna Brazile have already referred to these emails as stolen. Not as fabricated, but as stolen. They are real. And this proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that yes, people were right when they thought that perhaps the debates were a little bit tipped in favor of Clinton. Yeah, it looks like CNN at the very least made that happen through the head of the DNC. Donna Brazile should step down. She should be kicked out if she refuses to step down. There are other concerns involving Brazile too. This isn't the only thing that's gone on to plague her this entire election cycle. She hasn't even been the head of the DNC for that long. You remember it was Debbie Wasserman Schultz until emails came out again from WikiLeaks forcing her to step down. Her replacement, Fiona something or other, lasted, I think, 2 days before she stepped down because there was scandal involving her. And then we have Donna Brazile. Well, now we have a scandal involving Donna Brazile. Is she also going to step down, giving us the fourth head of the DNC in only a year? That's a pretty high attrition rate. That's a pretty high casualty rate for a party to suffer as far as this one most important key position. Tim Kaine, of course, was head of the DNC years ago. He stepped down to allow Debbie Wasserman Schultz to be the head. I wonder why he did that. Now, could it have been he got promised something ahead of time? We also found out some time ago. This was a leak from, I think, 3 weeks ago. We found out that Kaine had already been earmarked as the running mate long before. He feigned surprise. Oh, I didn't know this was going to happen. Oh, I'm excited, of course. He already knew. He knew months beforehand that he had been chosen as the running mate, and that Clinton was just keeping people in suspense to gobble up more of the news cycle about her choice or something along those lines. So yeah, plenty of scandal today. Several other political video making periods of time that'll have to be allocated as well, and it's Halloween. I should be talking about like zombies and skeletons, but I'll have to get to that later, I suppose. That's about all. Peace out.
Now, last night, a discussion.
All right. So that was Sticks, Hex, and Hammer.
Between DNC chairwoman.
Oh, shut up. Okay, so I'm going to bring in Dr. Noel now.
Donna Brazile and Fox News host.
What the hell? Okay, there we go. We're going to go bring in Dr. Noel now. And we'll hear what he's got to say. Give me one moment. That's not Dr. Noel. Hopefully, this is Dr. Noel. There it is. Okay, Doctor, let her rip.
Welcome to VidZet. I'm Dr. Ted Noel. This may be our last video before the election, so I'm going to focus on the things that are very important. It's interesting to know that Hillary has Parkinson's disease and that she displays the various signs. And we know that she is still displaying them because on every public event, her eyes cross. Then we see other bits and pieces, her grasping a handrail trying to climb 2 short steps, and things of that sort. But all of these are secondary to the issue of what's really going on and why we have to be careful with Hillary Clinton's health. After all, being sick is not a disqualification from being president. What we've got here, in fact, is a real issue with drug levels. And if we look at this chart, we find that when you give levodopa, you're going to have a period of time, typically 45 minutes before it reaches its peak, and then it's going to come back down. And it doesn't really matter whether you're giving a big dose or a little dose. Your objective is to get it between these 2 dashed lines because that's where the good drug effect happens. But if you only get it to the top of this level here, then what happens is it isn't all that long before it falls back down below the level where it's not doing enough work. So the easiest thing to do is to give a bigger dose. That means it's going to go higher and it's going to take longer to get to where it falls below the useful area. The problem is it also spends a fair amount of time in this red hatched area where you see a lot of the dyskinesias, that is, the side effects. And those dyskinesias are the things we see when she crosses her eyes, or when she had the head-bobbing cold chai incident, or the bizarre head movements at the balloon drop at the Democratic National Convention. All of those things are physical manifestations. Our big concern are the mental ones. By mental problems, we're specifically referring to the ability to think and to make decisions. Now, this has manifested itself in a couple of different ways. The first one happens to be the fact that Hillary Clinton was fed questions at various events. Donna Brazile again got caught feeding the questions that were likely to be selected out of the town hall audience at the second presidential debate to the campaign. As a result, when she got the questions, they could rehearse exact answers, and she would sound like she's really thinking well on her feet, when in fact, she's not doing that at all. She's reciting a memorized answer. Now, on the other hand, when you looked at Donald Trump, you saw that he was thinking on his feet. How well he did is another question, but that he's thinking on his feet is important. She's not. Now, WikiLeaks continues to show its value because we have several kinds of things that are said about Hillary. And these all fit with the fact that she has off states and that she has difficulty with putting 2 and 2 together to get 4. And let me stop for a moment and say this sounds a lot like Parkinson's disease dementia. Now remember, Alzheimer's dementia was characterized by I can't remember anything recent, and I can't remember my family, and so on. Parkinson's dementia is characterized by I can remember things, I just can't connect the dots. And so as a result, we get what WikiLeaks points out as she's not in her right mind. Or we have to make sure that we schedule things to match her body clock so that we're sure that she's at a time when she has good drug levels and will be able to think and do well. But they also ask, is she on the same planet with the rest of us? Well, that goes hand in hand with she has terrible judgment. And if you think about it, someone who can't put 2 and 2 together is going to come up with an answer of we should do something, and that something looks really awful. Now, that's terrible judgment. That's something we cannot have in a president. But let's go a little bit further. As you will recall, the drug level goes down with time, and it drops below the treatment level. So let's suppose Hillary Clinton goes to bed. Because levodopa has a short half-life, you will guarantee that if the 3 a.m. phone call comes, she's not going to be able to answer it because she'll be in an off state. And the only way to work on getting her back up is to give her medication. Well, levodopa takes about 45 minutes. Do we have 45 minutes to deal with a possible nuclear attack? You will recall at the debate she said we had 4 minutes. And so we simply can't allow that sort of mental incapacity to reside in the White House. While we might pick up hundreds of examples of Hillary's bad judgment ranging all the way back to Arkansas, the fact is we only need to look at a few to make it very clear. The first one is obvious. Her use of a private server was just plain horrendous judgment unless she felt no one would ever discover it. But even there, it's horrible because it would be discovered and hackers find their way in. We know that she's been hacked. The second one that comes to mind is her choice of chief of staff. Now, Huma Abedin seems like the very perfect, quiet majordomo, and so she sits at Hillary's side, does things, guides things, but Huma is not a security risk we ought to undertake. Huma is, while born in Michigan, a practicing Muslim who learned her Muslim faith in Saudi Arabia. In Saudi Arabia, as you'll recall, the majority of the 9/11 hijackers were trained in the madrasas, which teach the Wahhab Islam form, that is, the violent jihad form of Islam, and that's where she learned her Islam. She remains very closely tied to Islam, with her mother and father being tied to the Muslim Brotherhood quite tightly. She is not a security risk any of us would ever want to consider. And now that we know that her emails are all of a sudden on Anthony Weiner's computer, we find that her security risk is worse than one would ever have imagined. On foreign policy, I'm only going to talk about a couple of things. The first is Benghazi. Now, this is very clearly a case of horrendous judgment. We knew that September 11 was a prime date for the terrorists, yet she instructed Ambassador Stevens that he had to go to a poorly defended outpost on September 11. Then, along the way, prior to that, she rejected hundreds of requests for additional security. I mean, this is a dead setup for the ambassador to get killed. The Russian reset is another horrendous judgment on her part. She not only demonstrated bad management by getting a reset button where the label was misspelled in Russian, the Russian reset led to Russia's invasion of Crimea and eastern Ukraine. How can you imagine that she could manage foreign policy well? These are clear cases of bad judgment, way beyond anything that you would expect from someone who just simply isn't thinking straight. This is truly demented. And as we come to dementia, once again, we are reminded that Parkinson's dementia is a problem with thinking. It's not a problem with memory. It's simply not being able to understand that if one does a particular thing, a particular response is likely. Reasoning toward a forward objective is badly impaired in Parkinson's dementia. The evidence, that is, the physical evidence, shows clearly that Hillary is suffering from Parkinson's disease. When we go further, the mental evidence displayed with absolute horrendous judgment, confirmed in the words of her closest associates, shows us that Hillary Clinton is a manifest hazard to the United States simply by walking into the Oval Office. This is someone who should never be allowed to have any position of responsibility whatever. I'm Dr. Ted Noel. Thanks for watching.
Well, that was awesome. Thank you, Ted. Dr. Ted, I should say. All right. Let me just cover that up there. Now, the next one I've got lined up is going to be Stefan Molyneux. Oh, crap. What have I done? Yeah, it will be Stefan Molyneux. I'm not quite sure, but I think he has a really good point of view, and I'm just going to get him all set up here. And give me one moment. I'll be right back with Stefan. Okay, let me oh, you can tell it's Halloween. Stefan Molyneux. There we go. Well, these people are having lots of fun out there on Halloween night. Hey, Stefan, buddy, take it away.
All right, so we're going to start today's lesson with a caution and an instruction. Please, dear God alive, there is enough idiocy on the internet without you adding it to the comments below when I make generalizations, particularly when I make generalizations about very sensitive groups. See, you can make generalizations about white males. Well, we're rhino-hided. We're just supposed to take it because apparently we have privilege, which makes us immune from all emotionally hurtful statements. But in this case, yes, I'm going to be talking about women. I may, in fact, be talking about single mothers. I may, in fact, be talking about women who support Hillary Clinton. Now, please God, alive and above, if you have a heart and a soul and a mind within your body, do not come to the comment section below and say, well, I'm a woman and I don't support Hillary. Well, I'm a woman and I don't like Hillary. I know. It's a generalization. If I said women are generally shorter than men, do you feel the urge, if you're a 6-foot-tall woman, to say, well, I'm taller than most men? Type. Okay, we get it. You're tall. You're not exactly reaching the stratospheric heights of understanding of statistics, but I understand that there are exceptions to all of this stuff. And when I'm going to be talking about women's deficiencies in political knowledge, I am fully aware. You know why? Because I've actually had them on the show. There's Ann Coulter, there was the late Phyllis Schlafly, there's Ayn Rand, there's lots of wonders. Michelle Malkin, lots of wonderful female thinkers in the realm of politics. I know. Please. The internet can only handle so much stupidity. 3 more, and I think it's all going to break down. So, this is something really, really important to understand. So, why are we going to talk about this? Well, so women are about 53%, give or take, of the U.S. electorate, and ever since women were granted the right to vote, not one single presidential candidate has gotten into the White House without their support. Now, I'll put the sources to all of this below. I'm not going to go through all of the poll details. You can dig through them if you want, but in general, women doth support Hillary Clinton, much like a cup on a bouncing nutsack. Now, why do they support Hillary Clinton? It's a little tough to figure out, but 2 things seem to shine through. Number 1, they say, well, Trump doesn't show enough respect for the people he disagrees with. See, Trump doesn't show enough respect for the people he disagrees with. Now, this is kind of odd, because Trump, more than any other Republican candidate in memory or before, has done massive outreach to traditionally Democratic blocs, like blacks, Hispanics, gays, and so on, right? Now, how much Hillary outreach has there been toward Trump supporters? I mean, I guess you could count paying homeless people to punch Trump supporters would be an outreach, because you got to reach out to punch them, but in terms of, like, trying to...
I'm just going to wait for this to finish. Sorry. You know World War III? That's not what it's going to sound like.
To widen the tent and reach out to Trump supporters, it hasn't really been the case. So if you have a problem with people who don't seem to have enough respect for people who disagree with them, your problem rationally would not be with Trump. It would be with Kankles von Gollum Pantsuit. So, I don't know, call me crazy, but if women found it so important to respect people you disagree with, why would 2/3 of divorces be initiated by women, and why would they be so acrimonious in general? And of course, if you have a problem with people who disagree with you, I don't know, there were a bunch of leftists who swarmed and assaulted a homeless black woman who was guarding Trump's Hollywood Walk of Fame star after it had been smashed by some other lunatic. Doesn't seem particularly nice to me. If you care about people who respect people who disagree with them, how is Hillary Clinton calling half of Trump supporters, approximately 1/4 of the entire voting population of the United States, racist and sexist and misogynist and the basket of deplorables and stuff like that? What about Clinton saying that, oh, it's really important to understand that Ku Klux Klan and white nationalists are totally behind Trump? Or Hillary Clinton saying that Trump's campaign is founded or built on prejudice and paranoia. Does that sound very inclusive and open-handed, respectful of people who disagree with you? And of course, a lot of women think that Trump's personality is a major problem. Now, that's not policy. That's just called, I don't like him for some reason. I can't put it into words because feels. That is not an argument. That is not policy. Oh, but we'll get to that and why in just a moment or two. Let's just leave a little bait hook teaser hanging there. Now, what else is interesting, particularly among white women, is that white women who are well-educated support Hillary Clinton a lot. Now, white men who are less educated support Donald Trump. White women who are more educated tend to support Hillary Clinton. Now, of course, some people think that university, particularly the kind of courses that women on average take, which, you know, touchy-feely courses, humanities and stuff like that. In other words, courses much more subject to infiltration and takeover by leftist propaganda merchants. Swinging their little Marxist purse, putting their fishnet stockings on display and trying to lure people into a general hatred of capitalism, white males, history, the West, all that protects and sustains civilization, which protects and sustains women. But we'll get to that at the end of it. So, for people who think that education is about gaining knowledge rather than being slowly brain-injected with soul-liquefying propaganda, well, they say, well, you see, if women are more educated and they support Hillary Clinton, that must mean that you smarter people support Hillary Clinton. La la. No. Women overwhelmingly take courses in the humanities. Humanities courses are overwhelmingly leftist propaganda brain injections, so it's not that at all. So that's, I think, quite important. This feel aspect of things, you know, women's brains are a little bit more focused and primed towards the feels rather than the thinks, and I have no problem with that. This is not an insult, it's just a description of differences. I had a call on the show recently arguing about deportations. Well, deportations, the call, deportations are tearing families apart. You know, the people, the parents who came in illegally, they had a baby on American soil. It's an anchor baby. You're going to take that baby, or you're going to take the parents away and leave the baby to be an orphan. It's like, no. First of all, that's not what would happen. I mean, you would take your child with you if you were deported, so that wouldn't be an issue. You'd leave it with legal relatives in the States or whatever. But the reality is, of course, every parent who breaks a law risks going to jail and therefore sad children and family breakup. Does that mean that no parents should ever be sent to prison for breaking the law? Is that how it works? Is it not the parents' responsibility for breaking the law? Must everyone else suffer because people broke the law and we're sad because if the children without parents, the children are sad? No. If the parents go and kick a homeless guy to death, the parents are going to go to jail. Do we say, well, no, we can't do that because that's tearing apart a family? Also, when it comes to illegal immigration, it's the Democrats' fault and the Republicans in name only, like the Gang of Eight rhinos' fault. But they promised amnesty. Also Reagan, who actually didn't promise but gave a pathway to citizenship in California, thus turning California from a Republican state to a Democrat state from here to eternity. But if you're dangling the carrot across the border, oh, come over here, just hang tight, we'll get you citizenship. Well, of course you're going to draw a lot of people over, but it's your fault for offering citizenship. It's not the fault of the people who are then enforcing the law. It's the fault of the people who are dangling citizenship, drawing lots of people across the border. But again, thinking about families being torn apart, it's an emotional hot-button issue for women, and I guess some men. And the reality is, though, it can't logically be sustained at all, which is kind of what men are good at, is this kind of logical consistency and so on. So, does it sound like I'm insulting women? I'm not. I'm not at all. There's different specialties, different strengths and weaknesses for each gender. So, women were given the vote, and I don't know if there was a little sort of asterisk, you know. Here's the vote, ladies, asterisk. Please start learning a little bit more about politics, if you don't mind. You know, voting without knowing what you're doing is even worse than driving drunk, in my opinion, because driving drunk, you might not hurt people. Voting based on feelings rather than knowledge, you will hurt not just people, but the very foundations of the civilization that protects you. So women Across the world, they have surveyed 120 countries. I'm going to focus on one survey of just 10 countries here. Across the world, women know far less about politics. Now, it has nothing to do with gender equality. It has nothing to do with economic advantage. And so one report focused just on 10 nations. Men and women were asked questions about international news, domestic issues, and so on. Australia, Canada, Colombia, Greece, Italy, Japan, Korea, Norway, and the UK, and the US. So women answered fewer questions correctly than men in every single country. Now, the gap between men and women's knowledge of domestic and international issues and questions was even greater in Norway, which is one of the highest in terms of gender equality in the world, than in South Korea. Much lower equality rating. So in other words, when women had more equality, they knew less about politics. So, good job, ladies. Thanks for taking your vote so seriously and getting informed about the issues. Economic status is also quite interesting. Women were more widely behind men in political knowledge in, quote, advanced economies in the UK and the US than in far less advanced economies like Colombia. In other words, the gap between men and women's knowledge was less in less advanced Colombia economically than in the more advanced UK and US. In other words, when women get privilege, when women start to approach equality, they get more and more drunk and blindfolded when it comes to driving the car of state. So there's that. Now, in another study, again, which I'll link to below, when it came to the highest categories of knowledge, the people who knew the most, there were 3 times more men than women in the highest categories of knowledge. And in another study, 5 times more men knew a lot about politics than women. And listen, this is horrifying and tragic stuff, but I believe women should be treated equally. I have respect for women, which means I tell them the truth. I don't know if it's just a male thing, but for men, when someone you know is bullshitting you or pretending to know something that they don't, men call each other on it. And I call women on it because I refuse to treat women's pretense at political knowledge like some 5-year-old's drawing of a house. Oh, that's a lovely drawing, Pat, Pat, Pat. Very good voting, very good studying of failed knowledge, anti-based political nonsense. Very good job. Very good job letting your feelings guide the giant machinery of the state, because that never goes wrong, does it now? But don't take my word for it. Just go bring it up with your female friends, whether you're male or female. You know, sit down and say, hey, let's talk about politics, let's talk about principles, let's talk about economics, let's talk about values, let's talk about philosophy. See what happens. They might flee to the kitchen, who knows? Or ask your female friends, say, you know, when you get together with female friends, how often do you talk about politics or economics or anything like that? And I think you'll get an answer. If they're honest, the answer will be, you know, pretty much never. And the funny thing is, there's a test for like the feminist quotient of a movie, which is either 2 women alone with each other, like talking about something other than men. Okay, well, women can do this. They can talk about politics and economics and philosophy and the state and laws and foreign policy and all that kind of stuff. Except apparently they generally don't. So, but hey, you know, they vote more, they know less. They vote more, they know less. They determine the election, they know very little about politics relative to men. I'm sure that's going to work out wonderfully for us. Because here's the thing, ladies. I mean, this isn't fun, but it's very, very serious. Women know and understand a lot of things I don't understand. I don't have a clue. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Women like to make the bed during the day. Why do we make the bed? I don't know. Why can't I go out dressed comfortably as a man? Why can't I be seen in public being comfortable? I don't know. But I don't do it. Why do we have to take a potted plant to people who've invited us over? When I would go to guys' houses, I'd never once bring a potted plant. Maybe a 6-pack. Not the kind in my middle. But never once did I bring a potted plant to a friend's place if we were men. But now we go places, we bring potted plants or little baskets of stuff that I'm sure people will never eat. But we have to do it, and I submit because women understand these things. When I was a bachelor, I had 3 plates. Some of them even had even edges. I don't know why, as a married man, I need so many different plates. I have no idea. Why? I don't understand this either. Why are there soaps in the bathroom still wrapped in plastic? You can't wash with them. Don't touch them. Why are they shaped like shells? I don't know. I can't figure these things out. Why do we need so many towels? I mean, when I use a towel, I'm the cleanest thing in the house. Why? You go to the mall. What is the difference between bric-a-brac and just useless crap that you have to dust? I don't know. Why do we hang wreaths on our door at Christmas, the outside of the door? I go in through the garage. I never see them, but apparently they're very, very important. Why are there only 2 stores in the mall that I would ever buy anything at, and the rest I have to be dragged into like a cat getting shaved for an operation? Why do houses have more than 1 closet? How many creams do you need for your face? Are you making some sort of interstellar soup? Why do we have so many different knives and forks? Why, when 6 people come over, do we have to have 90 different food options? I don't know. Shoes. I don't know. You only have 2 feet. So, yes, women's expertise is great. I love it. I love living in girly world. It's a beautiful place to live. Things are clean and tidy and neat. I know where things are. I can walk on the carpet without crunchy sounds. It's not like I'm strolling along a beach. It's beautiful. I don't understand any of these rules. I don't know why they're there. I appreciate them. I know that these rules are enforced. You know, you don't bring that potted plant to someone's house. You get on some kind of interstellar estrogen list. And there are little tiny frowns and imperceptible but significant pauses the next time you talk, and apparently it's terrible. Women know stuff I'm terrible at. I get it. I defer to them. Because it's wonderful and their expertise is fantastic. So,
sorry, just gonna take a break. I hate Halloween. I hate Halloween more than any other celebration. I really do. Why? I mean, it's okay, you know, you want to go around with costumes and trick-or-treating for the kids and all this kind of stuff, but why do you have to make such fucking noise, explosions in the neighborhood? All it does is gets people to scream and animals to be petrified. Fucked up. I just hate Halloween. So are they over now? Can we carry on, Stefan? Jeez, let's go.
let's start talking about politics. Hillary Clinton seems very keen on a war with Russia. She's talked about using nukes in Iran. She's happy to continue this insane engagement in Syria. You name it. She wants to blow it up. Hillary has also said that women could, and in fact would, be included in the draft. The draft and war. Okay, ladies, I will defer to you on the wrapped soaps and the configuration of malls and the need for all of these things that I don't understand and all these little tiny social rules I don't understand. I get that. I appreciate that. I actually even appreciate not scratching whatever itches me no matter where I am. I'm fine with that. I think that's great. I don't mind moving from Conan the Barbarian comic book into an Emily Post column. That's fine. That's fine with me. I can absolutely live in a Jane Austen novel, and I like it. But when we're starting to talk about war and the draft and violence and bombing, destruction, well, that That's men's wheelhouse, ladies, you get it? We'll listen to you about a lot of stuff that you're good at. War, that's our turf, that's our neighborhood, that's our territory. You really, really need to listen to us. See, when it comes to saving civilization, say, you know, the very civilization that protects women, that keeps them safe and secure and comfortable, that gives them offices to work in, rather than having to cut things down with giant chainsaw blades? When it comes to saving civilization, ladies, you vote a lot, you don't know a lot. And when it comes to war and the salvation of everything that protects you, you need to trust your men. We trust you on a lot of stuff. You need to trust us on this. We know a lot more about this stuff than you do. When it comes to saving the very civilization that protects all of you, keeps you comfortable and warm and healthy and secure and safe. Listen to your men. Listen to who we want in office, to who we want in power. Listen. You want to be saved? Listen. We got this.
Wow, that was pretty awesome. That wasn't the one I wanted. I want that one. All right. I do apologize for the audio. I'm getting some high CPU usage here, but I'm not sure how to deal with it at this point, and I don't want to sort of disturb the momentum of this hangout by trying to figure it out. But maybe I'll boom, boom, boom. Did I mention that I hate Halloween? Fuck, do I hate Halloween. Makes me want to take my AR-15 onto the balcony and fucking spray the neighborhood. But I'm not going to do that. What I'll do is I'll set up the next video in the meantime. Just give me a moment. God, these people I hate them. Very nice. I hope you're very happy with that fucking noise. Jesus. Alright, let me get the next one going. This is by Project Clarity. And let me find it. Alright, I think we are ready to go. Let me throw myself up here and get rid of that, and let's rip.
The O'Reilly Factor's on tonight.
I'm sure a lot of you may be asking what this new email story is about and why in the world the FBI would decide to jump into an election with no evidence of any wrongdoing.
The Clinton campaign hammered by new email suspicions. Is the FBI doing the right thing? Talking Points will address it tonight.
Hillary Clinton's corruption is on a scale we have never seen before.
Donald Trump taking full advantage of the latest FBI email controversy. Even as poll numbers show he's gaining on Secretary Clinton. We'll have the facts.
Are you following the election closely?
Yeah, we try not to follow the election.
You try not
Next
to?
question.
Also ahead, Waters going to the end of the USA to talk about the election.
What do we have coming around the corner in November?
Who knows, bro?
Caution, you are about to enter the no-spin zone. Factor begins right now. Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. Hillary Clinton and the law. That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. The October surprise is here. The FBI saying it is examining new evidence over allegations that Hillary Clinton may have violated national security by using a private email system as Secretary of State. Mrs. Clinton thought she had put this to rest when FBI Director Comey said the case was not strong enough to prosecute last summer. Upon hearing that, Congressman Elijah Cummings was overjoyed with Comey.
I don't know whether your family's watching this, but I hope that they are as proud of you as I am. Because you are the epitome of what a public servant is all about.
But that was then. After Friday's announcement that Comey was reopening the investigation, Cummings had a different take.
I think here, Director Comey made a grave mistake. We all make mistakes, but this is a grave mistake.
My question, how would the congressman know it's a grave mistake? He has not seen what the FBI has seen. Truth is, Elijah Cummings and other Democrats do not want to know the truth, do not want justice to take place. And that holds true for the President of the United States, Barack Obama, as well. Based on reporting by Fox News and other agencies, Talking Points has come to the conclusion that the President has made it quite clear to Attorney General Loretta Lynch that he does not want any prosecution of Hillary Clinton or any investigation into the Clinton Foundation. Mrs. Lynch got the message, and according to the Wall Street Journal, is furious that FBI Director Comey has reopened the email investigation. For his part, Comey had to inform Congress about possible new information because in September, he said this.
Would you reopen the Clinton investigation if you discovered new information that was both relevant and substantial?
It's hard for me to answer in the abstract. We would certainly look at any new and substantial information.
Yeah. Comey's not a fool. He knows that if email on Huma Abedin's computer, that's Mrs. Clinton's top assistant, contains classified national security information, he knows that he, Comey, would eventually take the fall.
Are there any more coming? I don't know.
If he did not pursue obvious leads and tell Congress. So he had to go public, even though reports are Loretta Lynch did not want him to do so. The whole thing's a mess, with politics perhaps trumping justice. Even former Attorney General Eric Holder weighed in, saying Comey was wrong. This is the same Holder who was held in contempt of Congress because he failed to turn over documents related to the Fast and Furious gun scandal. Holder ran his Justice Department under President Obama in the most partisan political way possible. A deplorable situation. Unfortunately, it looks like Attorney General Lynch is doing the same thing. There is no question the new exposure is hurting Hillary Clinton. A new ABC News poll says 34% of Americans are now less likely to vote for her. Also, her poll numbers are falling. The Real Clear average is now less than 3% in her favor, down substantially in a week. Mrs. Clinton is not happy.
I'm sure a lot of you may be asking what this new email story is about and why in the world the FBI would decide to jump into an election with no evidence of any wrongdoing with just days to go. That's a good question.
And it is a question that deserves an answer, but we will not get that answer before election.
Oops. Oops. Hold on a minute. I gotta go and recreate this. We have a little technical glitch, please. Oops. Please stand by. I'll be right back with the rest of that. Hopefully, the rest of that.
The O'Reilly Fact is on.
If I can find where we were. Not there. Not there. Oh shit, that's not it.
In her favor, down substantially.
Yes, it is. Okay. I'm going to try and find out where we were. I'm not quite sure. Eric Holder we saw. Alright, let's just try it from there. What the hell, huh?
Looks like Attorney General Lynch is doing the same thing. There's no question the new exposure is hurting Hillary Clinton. A new ABC News poll says 34% of Americans are now less likely to vote for her. Also, her poll numbers are falling. The Real Clear average is now less than 3% in her favor, down substantially in a week. Mrs. Clinton is not happy.
I'm sure a lot of you may be asking what this new email story is about and why in the world the FBI would decide to jump into an election with no evidence.
Oh, shut up, man.
For his part, Donald Trump, who condemned...
I'm just gonna wait until all this fucking noise is over. Ooh. La 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 la. I hate Halloween. Fuck. I mean, I hate noise. That's what fucking Halloween is. For no reason. What the hell? Stupid fucking... I mean, have it for the kids, but during the day, what's this night shit?
Damned Comey for letting Clinton off the hook last summer is now happy.
And I have to give the FBI credit. That was so bad what happened originally, and it took guts for Director Comey to make the move that he made in light of the kind of opposition he had, where they're trying to protect her from criminal prosecution. You know that. It took a lot of guts.
Talking Points is not sure whether it took a lot of guts because, as stated, Comey would have eventually been held accountable if the emails on Ms. Abbott computer show national security violations. So while Comey was covering his butt last summer, he may be also covering it now. Finally, there's a civil war within the FBI. Comey knows that. Some career agents have offered their resignations because they don't believe the Clinton email investigation was conducted in a rigorous way. Comey, Lynch, and President Obama could have saved the nation all of this turmoil had they done what they should have done in the first place: convened a federal grand jury to review the evidence presented by the FBI. That would have gotten politics out of it. But in America at this point in history, justice takes a back seat to politics. Not acceptable.
I agree.
And that's the memo. Now for the top story reaction, joining us from Washington, Charles Krauthammer. And you say?
Comey did the right thing. And Comey did the only thing he could do. He had absolutely no choice. There's no way when you've declared an investigation closed, and then you say, I would open it if I got new information. And he's presented with new information. How much of it he knows about the internals, we don't know. But he had no choice but to say that this is what's going on. Now, whether or not he knows that there is something that will torture in those emails, nobody right now is in a position to know, which makes it such an impossible situation.
There are reports that the FBI agents who are looking at Ms. Abbott computer, and this is Anthony Weiner's computer as well, both of them used it. There are reports they sat on this for a number of weeks. This just didn't happen. All right, so the FBI has been looking at this computer for a while. It seems to me that Comey never would, knowing now that Comey is a political player, never would have roiled the election unless somebody gave him a heads up, hey, this is serious.
Well, according to what I've read, and you and I are depending on what we read on this, this was not brought to his attention for several weeks. So if you want to accuse anybody of sitting on it, that would be the people in the case in New York who were looking to prosecute Anthony Weiner. That would not be the Comey people here who were looking into Hillary's emails.
That's not what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is if the FBI agents have been looking at this computer for weeks, they know, all right, what's on it, at least in part. And they wouldn't have flagged their boss because they know all hell would break loose unless there was something that they feel is important.
Well, look, that's what everybody is assuming, and that is why 34% of the electorate is less inclined to vote for Hillary because of this. Everybody assumes there's stuff on it, that Comey knows what's on it, or at least in part, and that's why he felt he had to act, or he'd be run out of town if she wins the election. This is discovered.
Right.
He really had no choice, and I think, when it originally happened, when he originally issued his statement about her being careless, sort of amazingly, recklessly careless, but not wanting to indict, I did not agree with his conclusion, but I did not accuse him of bad faith. I was not one of those who thought he had betrayed anybody or anything. I think he wanted to do it precisely because he did not want to be the guy who changed the course of an election. The great irony is that he now is the
That's
guy
right,
who changes
and that
the
means
course.
that there had to be more there that disturbed him, because I think it's all about Comey. And I didn't like the FBI releasing the stuff Friday before Labor Day weekend. I thought that was a political move. What is your assessment of Attorney General Lynch?
She seems to me to be very weak, very much politically influenced, very much not somebody who stands on principle. I think she clearly has been one who wanted to make sure that there was no indictment of Hillary and no jeopardy to the Democratic campaign.
And you think that came from Obama?
That we can never know. Because I tell you what, if you're Attorney General, I don't think the president summons you to his office and says, hey, I want you to fix the deal.
Holder told her.
You know when I know that doesn't happen.
Holder told her.
Whether it was Holder...
Did I say that I hate Halloween, ever? Bet you I did, like 2 minutes ago. These damn explosions are messing up my show.
I don't even think anybody's stupid enough to go ahead and say that. You know what your boss wants. This is such a common thing in every walk of life. You know, or you think, you impute what the boss wants. He doesn't have to say it, and that's why all this stuff happens. It's
So she's putting politics above justice, in your opinion?
It's the, will someone rid me of this troublesome priest? That's what happens. You don't say it. You don't have to say it. It's known by your henchmen, and they go out.
All right. That was pretty good. That was pretty damn good. Okay. Let me get back to the right screen here. Oops. I always did the wrong one. That one there. Alrighty. Let me just get big again. All right. That's been almost an hour. Of commentary. I think I'm going to end this part right now. Because of that, for one reason. God, I hate those people. I wonder if those Syrian refugees that are here today, these days, are getting some kind of a PTSD reaction to these explosions. Because I mean, they left Syria, now they're here in Vancouver, in the area, in hotels and whatever. They got to listen to this. Okay, I guess we'll get some reaction in the newspaper tomorrow or whatever, but yeah, that's pretty horrible. Okay, like I say, it's been an hour. I'm gonna what I'm gonna do is end it here, and I think I'll come back under the debate. We'll start a debate channel. There's a YouTube channel called Debate, and I'm gonna come in under that and see if I can get some kind of a hangout with participation going. I'll come up with hopefully something interesting to talk about. But until then, it'll be in a few minutes. But I thank you very much for watching and hanging in there with all the noise and the audio problems. Yeah, until we meet again, thank you very much for watching. I'm Sidney Winston. Please subscribe, please share, please donate.